I'm going to move on now and talk about the products, because Empower to me is kind of like my flagship. A lot of people ask me, what's a flagship product? For me personally, Empower is, but I think for everybody, the line is a line that's so synergistic. And there's only 5 products. I mean, we could have 17 products there right now. But the thing is, I've chosen these 5 because they cover a lot of ground. In one family, we can support children in their development. We can support seniors in their needs for immune system activity. We can support people who need support against insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes and obesity, because these products basically treat the root of most diseases, And for the elderly, for people who are even only 35, 40 years old, that root starts with inflammation. Now, how many people have heard of this whole cascade of inflammation, and these professionals, medical professionals now saying, okay, man, this is the way we treat all our diseases. 90% of disease is basically characterized by inflammatory chemistry, okay? Almost all of it. That's why almost every drug affects the inflammatory cascade. Now, here's the interesting thing. About 8 weeks ago, we get a bulletin from the Mayo Clinic, and their professionals saying, hey, we've been treating high blood pressure and cholesterol elevation the wrong way. We've been looking to lower cholesterol levels, to change the proportion between HDL and LDL, but we're realizing now that the way to treat these conditions is by neutralizing the inflammation. Every single one of us, even though you don't feel disease, has an escalating level of subclinical inflammation. It's called subclinical. And what happens is, as we age, it tends to increase. Now, you think about this. So let's say you don't feel disease today. Maybe you're 30, 33 years old. You feel great still. You feel young. But what's happening is that, am I sweating under there? It's getting hot in here.
It's spotlight, don't worry.
So what's happening is that as you age, subclinical inflammation tends to increase like this, okay? And as you get closer to this threshold, you get closer to the symptoms of disease. You may not feel symptoms here, but what you feel is kind of like, I'm putting on a little bit of weight, it's harder to get it off. I get up in the morning, I'm stiffer, I'm not recovering from my workout as much as I used to. And you may have a genetic predisposition for an autoimmune disease or other disorders that you may not have experienced before, but as you get closer to that threshold for that particular disease, you get closer to experiencing the symptoms and the disease as you get older. It's one of the reasons why, the older people are more vulnerable to various environmental triggers, and they may experience diseases, even allergies, for example, that they never had when they were younger, because that inflammation also increases the sensitivity of histamine receptors. So if you have an allergy, for example, as this inflammation starts to escalate with age, your allergy should become worse. There are some allergies that work a different way, that you might have them when you're young, they go away when you're older, or but for the majority, it tends to get worse with this escalating subclinical inflammation. Now the research has shown that even type 2 diabetes, adult onset, is related to that subclinical inflammation pounding the beta cells of the pancreas, okay? So when we lower this, so what happens is, if it's coming like this and we drop it, now you've lowered the point at which, or you've opened the gap between threshold of disease and the baseline, okay? And that's what we're doing with Empower. Doesn't matter if you have disease or not. You're reducing the subclinical inflammation so that you age at a better rate. You don't age at the rate that subclinical inflammation chips away at your cells.